Hey, welcome back to my channel. So before I forget, please like and subscribe. I don't quite know exactly all the different content that I'm going to be posting to this channel, but if you like and comment, then it'll let me know what you guys do like, what you don't like, and it'll really help me out. So if you could do that, that'd be great. Today, so I shouldn't say today. So the other day I posted a video about how my different life changes and how we actually canceled our local wedding. So you can look at that video for more information on sort of why we canceled that wedding. But now I'd like to talk a little bit about the wedding that we are having. We are going to get married in Vegas. It's going to be a much smaller event. I mentioned in the last video, we are going to be getting married by Elvis. So freaking excited. And the place that we're getting married at is called Viva Las Vegas Wedding Chapel. And they have been just freaking fantastic through this entire thing. You don't have to book like 6 months ahead of time or 8 months ahead of time or anything like that like we did. It's literally one of those things like where you can sort of show up. They might not have availability, but you can show up or like book the day of, week of, whatever it is. That's one of the awesome things about Vegas is that they're super flexible with stuff like that. And they have just been so fantastic in, you know, giving us advice like where we can go and take our pictures afterwards. We were thinking that we wanted to do our pictures in the desert, but they were telling us that like, you know, that's not going to work because of just the logistics of driving out there. And so they gave us a couple of other options, which was really super awesome. They definitely did not have to like go like give us any of that information because their job is like to get us married. Their job is not to take our pictures. And so I thought that was super awesome. So I really appreciate that. And they have just been so nice and kind with like taking pieces from our package and like switching it in for other pieces that we would actually want. So for example, I was really not interested in having silk flowers. I don't even know if I'm going to be doing flowers. And Viva Las Vegas was like kindly able to swap that out for a limousine, I can't even speak, a limousine service. And so that was super awesome that they were able to do that. They weren't super rigid. They were able to be very flexible about that. But one of the things that I want to talk about today specifically is the different types of Vegas weddings that people have. In my head, when I think of somebody that's having a Vegas wedding, when I was growing up, the chick that did my mom's nails, she got married in Vegas, and like I don't remember what her pictures looked like or anything like that, but I remember my mom saying to me that this lady got her she was married by Elvis in Las Vegas, and like how cool was that? So you can definitely do that, and I'm pretty sure, I really don't know the specifics of that wedding, but one of the things like when I think of a traditional Vegas wedding is that people get married by Elvis and then like go party after, and it's like sort of an elopement, not really much else. It's like very like wham bam thank you ma'am. And you can definitely do that. One of the things that got me onto the whole Vegas wedding thing was I saw this post about these people that got married in a Taco Bell. Like literally they got married, not the reception afterward. Well, they did have the reception afterwards there, but they literally got married at Taco Bell. At the Taco Bell in Las Vegas, you can go in and order a wedding off the menu, and they will have it like set up for you like within like a few hours. You just have to come in like with your marriage license and like any of the other information that you would need to get married at any of the other chapels. Like they can do a wedding there. So awesome. Also, this like Taco Bell, this is not like your, you know, hometown corner Taco Bell. This is like a legitimate beautiful venue. It is gorgeous and just happens to be Taco Bell. So cool. Also, they'll throw in, if you get married there, they'll throw in like a sauce packet, like a boutonniere, and a sauce packet like floral arrangement or whatever. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a floral bouquet, but made out of sauce packets. Like so cute. Anyways, so I saw somebody do that, and that's what got me on the kick to get married in Vegas. We ended up not doing that, because I had never had Taco Bell. I tried it. It was awful. Did not like it at all. I don't really know what I was expecting. I don't eat meat, and I don't really eat cheese. So it was basically, I just had like this mushy beans on a stale like taco cracker bread thing. It was not very good for me. But anyways, I can see how that would be like just such a cool, like I would definitely go to a wedding at Taco Bell. I think that's so awesome. Food, not so crazy about, but I think it's pretty awesome to do your wedding there. So that's how we got on the whole doing the wedding in Las Vegas thing. So you can definitely do something like that, like where it's like very like Vegas tacky, like super like wham bam thank you ma'am, like really quick. Or you could also do something. I have seen the most beautiful wedding videos of people that got married in Las Vegas or at Lake Las Vegas. A lot of the like the different resorts there have really awesome wedding packages. Caesar's Palace, I know, has a really awesome wedding package that includes like photography, videography. You actually get to have one of their suites there, one of their smaller suites there for the night for the bride and the groom. And it sort of like comes with basically everything that you would need to have just a gorgeous wedding. And so that is definitely like a very, like, I shouldn't say a very inexpensive option, but it's definitely a less expensive option than having like the big white wedding like back home or locally. So that is another option as well, and I've seen a lot of people do that and it turns out beautifully. However, we didn't want to do that because we were going over budget with our last wedding and it was just getting totally crazy with, you know, talking to venues and like all this stuff. So we didn't want to do any of that. So what we actually did was we went somewhere in the middle of those two. We went in the middle of doing like sort of a nice, sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? I'll call it like a traditional wedding, and then doing like the super tacky Vegas wedding. So our like sort of mixture of that is I do have like a nice dress. I am going to be like getting my hair and makeup done. I am going to be, you know, that part's all going to be like very nice. We're going to have a suite. And so I'm very, very excited for that. And we're also getting married by Elvis. So like we have sort of those two elements of like the elegant wedding, but also the elements of like the sort of like tacky Vegas wedding. And then we're going to be having our dinner reception at like one of like at a very nice restaurant on Fremont Street. Or just off of Fremont Street. So I'm really, really excited for that. And so it's going to have like a sort of, I want to find like a word of like what to call it. You know, like when you watch HGTV and like all of the homes are like rustic modern. I want to find a word to like describe our wedding. So I feel like it's like elegantly tacky. Like that's what I'm gonna call it, is like tacky elegant. Also, people have asked me, like a couple of people that I've like been talking to have said, like, you know, like what should we wear to your wedding? Like you're getting married, like the groomsmen and the, well, maybe my bridesmaids are not going to wear this, but my groomsmen are going to be wearing tuxes. My dad's going to wear a tux. My brother's going to wear a tux. And my bridesmaids are wearing nice dresses and heels and like very, like going to be done up nicely. And so people are wondering, like, you know, like what should the guests wear? And to that I say, like, A, it's Vegas, like let's dress up, let's have a lot of fun. But B, like the more sparkles, the better. Like I didn't know how to phrase that for the invitation, so I didn't. But like if you want to wear like super like a super sparkly dress, like I'm totally all over that. Like love, love, love. So that's sort of what we're doing. We're going in the middle of the two. Like there is nothing that says that your wedding has to be like. One of the things that I really, really struggled with, and I always say that I want to do a video on like XYZ when I'm making a video, but I want to do a video on like all the things that you see on Pinterest, and then all of the things that like when you're actually planning a wedding, like what actually really matters. Like you look and you see these beautiful floral arches that people have, and like I've seen people in Ottawa that do that. Don't get me wrong, I think it is gorgeous and would love to have it. But when you actually get down to looking at how much these things cost, and it's not just that, then you have like, you know, your wedding cake that's like $400. Side note, I don't know if I mentioned this in my last video, not getting a wedding cake from like a bakery, like I'm going to the grocery store. That, like, I'm not bringing a wedding cake home from Las Vegas to have like on our like first anniversary or anything like that. So I honestly don't even care what the wedding cake is like. I wanted to, like, you know, look cute and pretty, but that's pretty much it. It's gonna be alive for like all of an hour, half an hour. I don't need to spend $500 on it. And as a little side note as well, if you are Canadian and you are planning a wedding in the States, one of the things that I have noticed that has made it very like tricky and hard to wrap your head around it is that a lot of the vendors or services that you'll need to like purchase or have contracts with A lot of their services, actually, their pricing is very similar to what they are in Canada. So let's say you are wanting to hire a videographer. The videographer charges $2,000. Okay, in Canada, charges $2,000 Canadian. They're also going to charge $2,000 for like the same service in the United States. So when you talk about how like sort of crappy the Canadian dollar is doing right now, you're actually paying so much more. You're paying almost like $3,000 to get the same service in the US. So just keep that in mind, like when you're planning, that if you are going to be having a wedding in the States, that you might need to either forego certain elements that you were hoping to have, or up your budget a little bit in order to have all the things that you would want to have at your wedding in Canada, if that makes sense. So that was like the biggest piece, and that was one of the things with makeup specifically, is it was like the pricing was very, very similar, and so it's very hard for me as the bride to wrap my head around like, okay, like this is gonna cost me, you know, like almost double what it would have cost to do in Canada. But also for the people that it's not their wedding, it's also very difficult for them to look at that and be like, you know, like I could get that done at home for way cheaper. But it is what it is, but just something to keep in mind. Last little note that I want to put out there about the Vegas weddings and like the different types that you can have is a lot of the places, are the same. Just do your research, look at the reviews about what, like who's going to give you the best possible customer service, especially if you're planning it not from within the US and not from within like Las Vegas or close by, or you're not planning on heading down to like check out any of the venues. I have not been to Las Vegas since I was like in grade 9, so however old you are in grade 9. Haven't been. Justin went 2 years ago, but like wasn't planning on getting married at that point. So we have no idea about like any of the venues there. So we did this basically just by looking on like Yelp reviews and like the different reviews and like Expedia of the different venues. Some venues had really terrible reviews, and so we sort of like did not do those. And other ones were really good, and ones that were specifically really good for planning when you were not from within the United States. Those are the ones that we really looked at. So just make sure that, you know, you're looking at what is best for you, and just because you saw somebody, you know, get married at the Little White Chapel on Instagram and it looks really cute, like, yeah, their sign, totally cute. But the way I see it is I can go and I can get a picture there like the day before, 2 days after. I can even put on my wedding dress like the next day or 2 days later and like go take a picture there. But what I can't change is how I'm going to be treated and the stress levels that I am going to have if my communication with my venue is not good. I've already been through that, trust me. You want to be able to have somebody that you can call up and like they have their shit together, they're organized, and you can say like, okay, I want to make my last payment, here's my, you know, marriage license, etc., and they're gonna have it. You want to be confident that they're gonna have everything all in order for you when you get there on your wedding day, not feel like, oh my gosh, like I really hope that like they get it. You know, the place that we're doing it, the Viva Las Vegas Wedding Chapel, through my conversation with them, and I haven't had a lot of conversations with them, but maybe 3 conversations, I've always felt like my wedding was important, which, considering the amount of weddings that A, go on in Las Vegas, and B, that venue does, that's like crazy that they're able to, you know, like they still understand that it's your wedding and hopefully it's your only wedding, and so they don't make you feel like you are, you know, being annoying or taking up too much of their time. Like they really are just there to help. So at this point, without having done my wedding yet, I would like to do a review on them afterwards. But at this point, I'm very happy with them. And so that's what I'm gonna say about that. And a lot of these places as well, like even the Viva Las Vegas Wedding Chapel where we're doing it, they'll actually do weddings like in the desert. Like you don't necessarily have to get married there. They have different, like, I don't know what the word is, like not priests, but like whatever. It doesn't have to be like an Elvis. It can just be like a minister that can go and do your wedding like at the Vegas sign or at Red Rock Canyon, which is this beautiful desert, like about 45 minutes away from Las Vegas. And that was actually one of the locations that I was hoping to do some wedding pictures. But what the Viva Las Vegas chapel was saying was that you actually, when you're doing the picture, like when you drive out to there, it's 45 minutes. But then it's a loop, and it's a one-way loop. So it's 45 minutes around this loop and then 45 minutes back. So it's like 2.5 hours journey just to like drive there and get like into like where you want to do pictures and then back again. Not worth it for my timeline. I really want to make the most of our pictures. If you saw my last video, then you saw how awesome, gorgeous my engagement pictures were. I was so happy with them. And I just really didn't want to like waste like that much time driving around. So we're not going to be doing that. But yeah, all of that to say, when you're planning your wedding, do what's best for you. There's so many different options, like A, within Las Vegas, but B, like when you're looking at even just doing a local wedding, do what you want to do. Like if something's not important to you, like for example, food, I would just say like, yeah, make sure that your guests have like, you know, good food that they can eat, but don't put so much pressure on yourself. Like if you want to do like gourmet pizzas, like by all means do gourmet pizzas. Don't be like, you know, like so-and-so, you know, doesn't really like pizza. Like I literally had somebody say to me like, well, you know, you could do that, but you know, my boyfriend doesn't like pizza. And I was like, okay, like your boyfriend's not at my wedding party. Your boyfriend's not, like literally not involved in this wedding in any way, shape or form other than the fact that they're your boyfriend. So like they can eat the free meal that I'm giving them. That's sort of my take on the whole thing. If somebody's gonna if you're giving somebody a free meal at your wedding, they should not be complaining about it. You do need to offer, like if somebody's like a vegetarian or a vegan, you need to offer options for that. But like if they don't like that option, like it's a free meal. It's the same thing as if you're going to somebody's house for dinner and they are providing you with this meal. Are you going to be like, you know, I actually don't like pot roast. Like I'm not like vegan or vegetarian or anything, but it's just not my favorite. No, you shut up and you eat the food. And that's sort of like my feeling towards the whole wedding food thing. So that was sort of a bit of a side note. But yeah, do what you want to do. So many options. Just do you. Thank you. You know what? I was about to forget. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe down below.